Let's go over my best and crappiest arcade deals. Please leave a like if you like a great deal while the intro plays. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Basement Collectibles, and if you're new here, my name is Jordan, and if you like arcades, movies, toys, and comics, please consider subscribing for more great content. It's been a while since my last arcade video, so I thought it'd be a great idea to talk about the best deal I've ever had, looking for arcade machines, and also the crappiest. I always used to be on the lookout for certain arcade cabinets that either were in really bad shape or something that I could restore and then flip for obviously profit so I could help fund my hobby. Any decent price cabinet always seemed to be about a 3-hour drive for me, so I always had to be selective on what cabinets I was going to make an offer on, or at least if they would accept it, and then plan to spend half my Sunday, normally trying to leave at about 5 in the morning, just so I could get some of my Sunday back with my family. So when I'm looking for arcade cabinets online, most of the time I used to find cabinets that were already painted black, broken, no monitors inside, no PCB boards, pretty much just wood. So if I decided if I wanted to MAME the cabinet, meaning a multiple arcade machine emulator put inside either on a computer or Raspberry Pi, I'd look for empty cabinets again, so I'm able to fund my hobby, to either flip these cabinets, to invest in other arcade cabinets, more so on games that actually have PCBs inside them. So one morning I came across an arcade cabinet for $50 and it was only 10 minutes away from my house. I quickly replied and said, I'm interested. I'll take it for your asking price. Normally people like to obviously try to get a few dollars off, but I said, I'll accept your asking price right now. I'm just around the corner. I have money in hand. Can we please make a deal? So luckily I must have been one of the first ones to respond, because I did get a reply back, and he said, yeah, if you're available this morning, please come pick it up. And I said, absolutely, please send me your address and I can even e-transfer you the money right now. So I had to act fast on it. Luckily he sent me his address and he said just cash only. So I raced over there, and the cabinet I'm referring to was at one point in time a Galaga Midway cabinet, and I was looking for a similar Pac-Man style cabinet. Again, something that I could either restore or MAME the machine itself. So I got over there. I'm talking to the gentleman. You could tell that it was pretty much MacGyvered. He said that his wife is a realtor, and she was able to pick up this machine from someone else's house, and he's had it in a garage for over a year, but he just couldn't get it working. He said, he's not much of on the electronic side of things, but he tried a couple things. He still couldn't get it working. And I said, that's no problem. Again, here's your asking price. I'll take it with me. And I was really excited to start, not from scratch, from building my own Pac-Man machine. So when I got the machine home, I looked over and the monitor didn't look like it was MacGyvered too much. The wiring wasn't spliced in 1,000 different ways. I was just checking a couple things out. There was still a PCB board in it, but there was no markings on what game it was. So again, it could have been a bootleg copy, so I didn't know at the time as well. So I tried a couple things. I tested out a couple of the circuits and that too. The voltage on, I still had a voltage meter, and I was just checking out a couple things. I'm pretty novice when it comes to this stuff. That's why I normally just get more into the MAME and do my own, keyboard encoding and all that stuff. But I thought this would be a great project, seeing how this is already run down, to give it my first shot at trying to restore this cabinet. So after playing with a couple things, nothing was working. And I realized as well, when he had it in his garage, he never had the back door on. And the only reason why I'm saying this, on these types of machines, there's a kill switch. It's an interlock switch. And I'll show a picture of it right now. And I just thought, I wonder if he ever put the back door on it, because he could never get it to work. So why, I guess, seal the back door up in his garage if he was always trying to play around with it to get it working? So when I put the back door on, I noticed it wasn't that secured. It was pretty flimsy, actually. So because there was no locking cylinder up top, I put 2 screws up top and 2 screws at the bottom that seemed to hold it in place, because the back was bowing a little bit from obviously just being left in his garage. So once I put that securely in place, plugged it back in, hit the switch, all of a sudden I could hear the monitor warming up. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I haven't done nothing to this machine yet to see if it was going to work at all besides putting this back door on. All of a sudden the monitor warms up and I see Pac-Man going along throughout the maze, and it ended up being a super Pac. Super Pac-Man. My kids really enjoyed that game. We had it downstairs in our basement as well on one of the emulators on my other arcade machine. So they were really excited. I was excited. Normally they always joke that it could just be a fuse, and in this case it was just the kill switch on the bottom. And I guess the gentleman never had a chance to see this thing run because they probably had the back door off the whole time when they picked it up from the other place, because again, he said it never worked. So for $50, I got a working PCB board with that monitor, everything besides cosmetically just being all black and pretty beat up on the control panel. I had a working Super Pac. I cleaned it all up and I was able to flip that again so I could put money towards my next arcade machine. So that was definitely my best deal, with it being $50 and also only being under 15 minutes away from my house. And now for my crappiest arcade deal I've ever had. So same thing, I always look for empty arcade cabinets, and I was focusing on the Midway cabinets, the Mortal Kombat style cabinets. A lot of these cabinets after 1996, it seemed like arcade vendors just started painting over them, throwing a sticker on the sides, putting new PCB games into it, and there was no more Mortal Kombat on it. And again, I would never ruin an arcade cabinet. So anyways, I found a generic Midway cabinet. It was about an hour away from me. Arranged for Sunday morning to meet up with a guy. I think it was about $120, and I met up with him, and the machine was in the garage. So I met up with a guy in his garage, and we're just going over a couple of things. It's pretty tight in there. It was a one-car garage. He had a lot of stuff in there. I was just trying to pull it out. Again, I just needed it for the shell. For $120, I couldn't buy wood for that price and time to build something like this. So it was great. He had everything that I needed. There was no games in it. There's not even a monitor. I don't know what he used. The control panel was pretty much shot, but it didn't matter. For $120, I thought, okay, no problem. So anyways, I pull it out. He had the back door on it. Couldn't really see much. There wasn't really a lot of light in his garage. I had a minivan at the time that I used from work. Pushed the arcade in to the back of the van, was able to get it in, wasn't really paying attention too much, just pushed it in, and I'm driving home, and I'm just kind of like, what's that smell? And I'm like, oh, hopefully it's just, something on the road coming through the vents. And then also I was like, shoot, I guess I pulled something out of my pocket and it was another $20. So I'm like, I only gave the guy $100. I was supposed to give him $120. So I was able to reach the guy on his cell phone, and I called him and I said, listen, I'm sorry, I only gave you $100. I must have had the other $20 in my pocket. And he was like, don't worry about it. I appreciate getting it out of my garage. And he seemed to be more excited that he got this thing out of his garage than obviously getting that extra $20. So I'm on the highway, so I can't really pull over. I just kind of rolled down the windows a little bit, and that seemed to make the smell go away. So I thought maybe it was just something that was on the road that went through the air vent. So I finally got it home, pulled it out, put it in my garage. I opened the back door, which maybe I should have opened the back of the arcade machine while I was there. But again, I didn't need to look at anything. There was no wiring that I needed. There was no real game inside, so it didn't really matter. I opened the back, and to my surprise, and I really should have looked at it again, there was raccoon crap all over the inside of the arcade machine. So I thought, should I call the guy and say, why didn't you tell me about this raccoon crap all over it? Or he could have just denied it too and didn't know, and saying that he hasn't opened his garage in the last couple months, because at that time we were just heading into spring. So I said, fine, at least I've got that extra $20 to buy cleaning products and that to clean this up. So I brought it back outside of the garage, scraped it all, ended up using like an oil-based trim-clad paint, black on the inside of it. Luckily, there wasn't really any water damage to it, so whatever these raccoons were doing, they didn't do too much damage, but I just couldn't believe it, from the car ride to getting into my garage, that I was driving around with a lot of raccoon crap. So with the cleaners and the paint that I was using inside the cabinet, I ended up getting rid of that smell. Luckily, I thought maybe I'd have to throw it out after that damage, but luckily it seemed like it was just on top of the surface, and there was other things on the bottom of the arcade machine to protect it with all that raccoon stuff inside. So the cabinet actually did go into another person's garage after I was done rebuilding everything. I did tell the seller the story, and they did look inside of it, and there was no sight of any type of rodent mess inside. So they were happy that, again, I painted over everything, cleaned it all up, so they were fine with it. So again, another arcade that I sold that I was able to put towards money to end up buying my pinball machine. So I hope you enjoyed these two arcade stories, but please let me know in the comments below if you have a similar story to this as a collector. Did you get something for such a great deal? Luckily, you were the first one to respond. Not like you're trying to rip off these people, but again, the guy was selling me a $50 cabinet that didn't work. And of course, the other person, who knows, maybe they didn't know about this raccoon stuff, but I'm pretty sure they did because they looked pretty excited while I was driving away that they got this raccoon infested cabinet out of the garage. So that's it for this video, and I really appreciate you watching till the end. And if you're new here, if you can possibly like, comment, and subscribe on your way out. And welcome to all the new subscribers to the channel. And I'll see everybody on the next one. Take care.